Chapter 9. That evening, Ronnie bravely returns to Bigwood Industries. He stood in front of the same gate and faced the same guard. But this time, he refused to end up on the wrong side of the gate. He was going to get the Bigwood. He had to. The lives on too many bots depended on it. Bigwood hadn't been anywhere near his office the last time Ronnie had dropped in. But now he was certain that Bigwood was going to be presented. After all, tonight was the big fancy corporate party. Bigwood always attended that event. All Rodney had to do was find a way to crash the party. Once he was in, he'd make Bigwood listen to him. Of course, getting to a private executive party at Bigwood Industries was so easier said than done. Everyone has to pass through the security checkpoint, where the tender guard made sure only invited guests got past the red velvet rope. There was no chance that Ronnie Copperbottom was one of the names on the guest list. But Ronnie wasn't going to let that stop him. He had a secret weapon that was sure to help him gain admittance to the party. He had Fender. Fender and Ronnie waited nervously at line at the guest. Guests made their way through the security stop. Ronnie was tense beneath his homemade bogey upgrades. Its disguise he created to fool him and the executives who was sure to recognize him. He and Fender had rehearsed their plan over and over again when they were next in line to talk to him. Fender strutted over to the guard and adjusted the cap that had thrown on as his costume. The disguised Rusty pointed to Rodney and proudly announced, "This is the kind of royalty from broken zebra. Formerly gone, known as gone, cool." Tim looked down, scanning his list for the name, but Fender immediately interrupted his train of thought. "Where are the trumpets?" he demanded, sounding very official. "The what?" Tim asked. He seemed confused. "We were promised trumpets to announce the council arrival." Fender continued. He turned to Rodney and lowered his head in shame. "I'm sorry, Your Grace. Beat me until you're happy." Rodney reached out his hand and pretended to slap Fender. Of course, he was careful not to make contact with his friend's body. There was no telling when an old part might pop off and spoil their disguises. "He's happy," Fender reported to them. He began to lead Rodney into the party. "You're not on the list," Tim said, barring them from taking another step. A look of horror crossed Fender's face. "Well?" He began to. Turning to Rodney, he said, once again. Rodney abundantly pretended to slap Fender. "Thank you," Fender replied. He turned to glare at him. "Fine, we will go," he agreed angrily. "You'll explain to the superiors why the captain were not able to then you luau abundance whatever it is. We're leaving in a huff." Tim had seen what happens to people who had to explain their mistakes to Ratchet, and he had no desire to visit the trash compactor. He leaped to the side and cleared the way immediately. No. Please, go right in," he urged him. "In fact, would the count like it hit me?" Fender was engrossed. "The count hit you? The arrogance is of people. I will hit you." He reached up and metal fist a and clobbered the guard. Tim fell off his guard platform. Oh, thank you, Your Grace, he said. As Ronnie climbed over Tim's injured limbs, he whispered gratefully to his pals. Fender, that was brilliant. Fender removed his hat to bow, and the Wonderbot flew out from under it. Okay, let's split up, Ronnie suggested. If you see Bigwell, come find me. If anything goes wrong, we'll signal each other. What kind of signal do you want? Fender asked. Smoke? Semaphore? How about a baseball catcher kind of thing? Barney stared at him. What are you talking about? How about this? How about this? Fender thought out loud. Gah-yah! Gah-yah! He squawked. A group of guests turned around to stare. Perfect, he murmured. Let's get to work. As Fender walked off to mingle with Loretta, a good-looking, slinky female bot, Ronnie looked around. He didn't see Bigwell anywhere where. Ronnie sure hopes he would show up eventually. Over by the buffet tables, Cabby was trapped in a conversation with Ratchet. It was almost more than she could endure. You know, Cabby, it's nice that you can send me away from work, he said in flirtatious tone. Seem more casual and for loving the stuff inside. He playfully tossed a snack in the air, caught it triumphantly in his mouth, and promptly began to choke. Cabby took that opportunity to slip away. She glanced over her shoulder to make sure Ratchet didn't notice where she was going and ended up bumping into Rodney. Hey, I know you, she said when she recognized him. You're the flying kid. I am, Rodney replied. I mean, I've been thinking about you. You and your little watch-a-mark all like that. The Wonderbot? Rodney told her. Cappy nodded. Pretty old school, but clever. Yeah, well, if you guys get your way, I won't be able to get parts for him. Rodney spat out. He turned to begin and began to walk off. No, wait. Cappy urged. Don't go. I think you're on talent, kid. If that were up to me. Before she could utter another syllable, she heard Ratchet calling out across the dance floor. Cappy, you. Cappy? Cappy? Dance with me? Dance! Cappy commanded. Huh? Rodney asked surprised, but he did as he was told, taking Cappy in his arms and sweeping her across the dance floor. I'll give you one thing, kid, Cappy whispered to him as they moved across the room. You've got some big balls. You crushed this party, didn't you? Yeah, actually I did, Rodney admitted. Quickly, Cappy reached out her arms, signaling someone. Over here, please, she called. Rodney gasped. She tricked him. He thought she liked him, but she was simply getting rid of him. You're throwing me out? He exclaimed. Cabby shook her head and smiled as the waiter bot came over with a tray of drinks. She reached out and grabbed 2 glasses. Relax, she said with a smile. Here. Oh, thanks, Rodney said. He was about to take a sip when surging spotlights shot across the crowd. An announcer stepped onto a big stage at front of the room. Ladies and gentlemen, please do it your attention To the stage! He called out. Rodney turned along with everyone else. He knew what this meant. Bigwell would soon to be addressing the crowd. This was his chance to finally meet Bigwell. Excuse me. Sorry. I'll be right back. Rodney apologized to Gabby, who left her on the dance floor and began pushing his way through the crowd once. But it wasn't Bigwell who took the stage. It was Phineas and T. Ratchet. Thank you, Ratchet said to the crowd as they abundantly applauded. We now come to the point of evening where I have the honor of introducing our beloved founding Mr. Bigwell. Ah! The crowd cheered and applauded wildly, and this time they meant it. Who is? Ratchet continued. Unfortunately, he is unable to do that. Rodney stopped dead in his tracks. What? He sends his apologies, Ratchet assured everyone. His love in a small box of assorted cookies. Not coming, Rodney shouted. He has to come. In his state of disbelief, Rodney had forgotten that he was trying to blend in with the crowd. Ratchet's eyes were drawn right to him. You, he barked. What are you doing here? Rodney was in trouble now, but somehow he gathered the courage to answer right back. I came to see Bigwell, he declared. You want your money back? Ratchet sneered. Rodney refused to admit it. This was not too important. How come we don't see him anymore, huh? He demanded. A murmur went through the crowd. They'd been wondering the same thing. Ratchet wasn't about to answer questions from someone like Rodney. He snapped his fingers to summon security. We have a party crash, he told them. That's right, Rodney told the crowd as he pulled off the tin cans he used to cover his body. And I had to put on this so junk so I can get in here. So I can tell the big world that you and I'm money millions of bars. And I know, as I spent all day fixing him. You. Ratchet's eyes closed into tiny furious slits. So this was the bot who was ruining his plan and making his mother mad. As Ratchet's guards grabbing for Rodney, the frightened bots let out a call for help. Kaka! Kaka! He cried. Kaka! Fender heard his call. He turned to Loretta, the beautiful bot he'd been dancing with all night. My darling, he murmured in his ear. Anyway, that's the cry for Deep Doodlebird. I must fly. With that, he turned and headed for Rodney. As the security guards let Rodney from the room, Ratchet whispered an enormous demand. Take him for a drive and bring me back to site weight and paper clips. Fortunately for Rodney, Ratchet hadn't whispered quietly enough. Cabby had heard every word. No, she protested. At the moment, everything stopped. No one at Bigwood Industries had ever said to no to Ratchet before. He couldn't believe his ears. No? He demanded stridently. I mean, Cabby continued, moving closer to him and speaking in a low voice few could hear. All this going about. You don't want to look bad in front of people, do you? Ratchet wasn't quite sure what to think until Cabby moved closer to him and smiled flirtatiously. When I get back, I can show my castle from love inside. Now Ratchet was completely flustered. Well, he began bustling madly. Cabby didn't wait for a response. She pushed Rodney hard in the back. Get moving! Rodney was shocked. Cabby had seemed so wonderful on the dance floor. What are you doing? He demanded. Saving your life, Cabby assured him. She tried to hurry him out the doors. But Fender got in the way. He leaped in front of them, blocking their path to the door. Unhand him! He demanded of Cabby. Get out of here, you idiot! Cabby insisted. With a single sweep of her arm, she knocked the skinny bots to the ground and hopped over him. Just then, Ratchet came to his senses. She's with him! He shouted to the guard. Seize them! The guards bounced to attention. They ran towards Cabby and Rodney. Ratchet followed closely behind, but they were suddenly blocked by a line of conga dancers who were parading around the floor, led by the Wonderbot. Ratchet was forced to join the dancer, and they wouldn't let him go. Rodney grabbed Cabby and Fender by the wrists and pulled them towards the exit. The Wonderbots left the conga line and flew into Rodney's arms. Wait, you know him? Cabby asked, nodding at Fender as they were. This was no time for formal introduction, but Rodney did his best. Cabby, Fender, Cabby. Ratchet wasn't the only one who wanted to stop the toil. Loretta wasn't going to let the bots of her dreams disappear so easily either. Vanderbilt! She cried out. Wait for me! Fender decided to return to the ball with Loretta. Meanwhile, Ronnie and Cabby managed to make a smooth getaway and were now driving along in Cabby's car. As the car flew over the brightly lit buildings of Robot City, Rodney looked out the window, observing the view. That was amazing, he said to Cabby. The way you just thought of that. You know, that was the most fun I ever had one of those parties, Cabby said as she gleefully gasped for breath. In fact, the only fun. But the Wonderbots, who had obviously had to bet a bit too much to drink at the party, blinched from the back seat of the car. So where are we going now? Home. What? Rodney exclaimed. No way! Cabby turned to look at him. This is for your own good. You don't know what you're dealing with here. Ratchet wants to use her head or hold out of it. I'm not going back, Rodney declared. I can't give up. I made a deal with my father. And, wow, Cabby interrupted him. Is he an inventor too? He's a dishwasher, Rodney told her. A dish? That's right, Rodney told her defensively. He washed dishes in a restaurant. Hey, take it easy, Cabby replied. My dad's a vacuum cleaner, and my mom's an attached set. That's how they met. Rodney found that hard to believe. Cabby was so sophisticated. But you don't seem like you didn't know me in high school, Cabby assured him. Voice, glasses. I wish, Cabby, and Cappadorcas. I've even had a big one, thank you, Cap. Hey, I still have mine. Cabby looked over at him and chuckled. Well, no, that's just sad. Rodney laughed despite himself. He looked appreciatively at Cabby. She really was beautiful, not a dog anymore, which made him wonder. What? She asked, after he'd been staring at her from what seemed quiet for a long time. how can you become so upgrade? She said with a simple shrug. Miss Sticky is here to fit in. Is here to fit in. Maybe I should get some, he said. Cabby stared at him. You're fine. You're fine, she assured him sincerely. Ronnie looked away. He was fluttered and a bit flustered. He didn't know what to say. Cabby stopped the car suddenly. We're here, she told him, almost sadly. But Ronnie refused to get out of the car. He hadn't gotten what he'd come for, not by a long shot, and he wasn't getting on any train until he did. Look, I'm not leaving until I find Big Will, he insisted. Cabby was shocked. Oh, that's not, she began. But Ronnie refused to take no for an answer. Well, why not? You're a big shot, aren't you? You could take me. Cabby shook her head vehemently. Nobody at the company sees Bigwell, except Mr. Ratchet, she explained. You don't think I want to see Bigwell. He's my hero. You don't know. You know? You think I don't hate what's happening? Do you? Ronnie asked her. Yes, Cabby assured him. But if I got caught trying to see Bigwell and bring you along, I don't lose anything. My job is future. I've been nothing again. Like, Ronnie nodded. He stood now. He knew what she meant. Like me? Like me? He said quietly. Cabby looked away and didn't answer. Ronnie understood. He opened the car door and stepped out into the night, but he couldn't leave without letting her know exactly how he felt. Next time you need to upgrade yourself, and check out the catalog and see if it sells and consent signs. He closed the car and door and walked off. After a moment, Cappy pulled the car up beside him and lowered the window. Get in. That's the end of chapter 9. Let's look at all the characters. I should have got the picture of this. I got the book and the movie. I seen it about this movie original. Last time, this Whitney grow up like this big world. He likes an inventor about son of a dishwasher machine. Just to tell, here to get a life and get a job. Next chapter 10.